Before you start using watercolor paint, I want you to watch this video to see how to take care of your paint, to make sure that you can use it for other projects. First, I want to talk about the paintbrush. Inside your watercolor tray, you'll find a paintbrush in there. And there's three different parts. It's the handle, the yellow part right here of my paintbrush. Yours might be a different color. This middle part right here is called the ferrule, and it holds this last part of the brush called the bristles, or the hair of the brush. So I'll be referring to these three different parts, the handle, the ferrule, and the bristles, while I'm talking about how to take care of your watercolor paint today. First, you're gonna need your watercolor paint, your brush, a cup of water, and a paper towel. First, when you're starting with watercolor, it's the water that really makes your paint spread onto your paper. So you dip the bristle or the hair of your brush into the water, just a little bit. Then you're gonna have to put it into your watercolor paint and just slide it in there softly and very lightly, and then you can paint on your paper. When you're painting with watercolor, the more water you add to a color, the lighter the color becomes. So if I want to make that a lighter orange, I can just add some more water in there and it will become a lighter orange. Now, if you want to change colors, you always need to wash your brush before you put it back into a different color so you don't mix them on your palette. So the way to do that is you take your brush and softly just rinse it in a circle at the bottom of your bowl or cup. Take your bristles and brush it on the side to get the extra water off. And then you can test it right here to make sure there's no paint coming off on your paper. If there's no color, you can dip it into water again, get a different color. So since I used orange before, I can use any other color I want. So let's say I use green. If I'm going to continue using the same color, I don't need to wash my brush off. I can just get more water if I need to and paint with it. But anytime you change colors, make sure you wash your brush off by stirring it at the bottom of your cup or bowl, drying the bristles on the side to get the extra water off first to make sure it's clean. Then you can dip it in some clean water and choose a different color. Remember, every time you switch colors, please wash your brushes off. Dry it off a little bit. Make sure there's no dirty water coming off of the bristle. Dip it into water again and choose a different color. So I'm just going to add the colors I haven't used yet and put it on my paper, washing my brush in between colors. When you're finished using your watercolor paint, wash your brush off one final time. Then you will dry the water off of the brush. Use your paper towel just to dry it off completely. Put it back in the tray and close it. So your paint should look like this when you're finished with your project. Notice that none of the colors are mixed together. That way you can ensure that you have each color to use throughout the projects for art this year. For the last part of our project, we talked about using lines, horizontal lines, vertical lines, diagonal lines, and curved lines inside of the hands that we traced to make a design. We used crayons last time. To finish off this project, if you want to add more of these types of lines, more horizontal, vertical, diagonal, or curved lines into your final design, you can do that at this time first. But if you are done adding all those lines and you're ready to paint, you can pull out your watercolor paint for this part of the project to finish it. So just to finish off this project, you're gonna paint with the watercolor in all of your empty spaces. And the crayon is made of wax, which resists or keeps the paint from going over it. So you can paint even on top of the lines to fill in all the empty spaces. So I'm just gonna show you how I'm gonna finish this off by painting in all of these areas that I haven't put any crayon crayon in with watercolor paint. And you can use any colors you want for this part of the project. When you're done with this, you're gonna put this inside of your art folder and show it to me during your next class. After you finish this project, let it lay flat on the table to dry. And when it's finished drying, please put it in your portfolio and we'll take a look at it the next time we meet for art on Zoom.